What's the secret to a good academy, Enzo? How you able?
Brother, you have to understand one thing. We think about, oh, let's make tough. Let's make a real fighting place. I run a school like this for many years, many, many years. And I could never pass 150 students. I could never pass. And one day I go to grab a pizza. And that was the school that you went on 30th Street, the big one where you had the private with John Donna.
Yeah.
So I go in the corner to have a pizza. When I get in, there's this huge guy, huge, very muscular. He was probably like 6'5", huge guy. His son was 11 years old. He was as tall as me. He was 5'10", like me. And then I goes, Renzo Gracie. I say, oh, man, you like the fights? And I go to shake his hand, give him a hug. He goes, yes, I train. I say, you train? He goes, yeah, I train at Matt Serra, which was my school in Long Island. When Matt got his black belt, we passed to him, and he runs, and he does an unbelievable job, makes unbelievable champions. So when he tells me, oh, train at Matt, I say, oh, man, how's that is? Like, I was trying to say, oh, I love it. He goes, oh, the beginning was very scary. I go, huh? Yeah, I was very insecure, It was the first man that really told me what he thought, how we had set up the whole thing. And then you have to understand, you know what his job was? He was a fireman. So you're talking about a guy who's going to go into a building on fire to save a cat. Like I would call the cat from outside. Come. I wouldn't go there to get him. He goes, so he's one of the tough. He was like 260 pounds, 250 pounds. So it's not an average guy from the office, a nerd who works on the computer the whole day. I say, if this guy was insecure, imagine the average Joe, So I say, something's wrong. I got to change this. So I went back. We started, me, Ricardo Almeida, Jim Dunn, and a couple more students, we started developing how we could build the confidence and keep them there. And then I found out that it would take you 32 days for you to create a habit. We extend that to 3 months. Instead of 32 days, I said, let's make it 3 months, the first 3 months. And I designed the whole classes with them to make the student comfortable with. We would make a warm-up that was very easy. Even if you're completely out of shape, you could do it. So that's the part that the guy looks and goes, I can do that. And that already brought people in. And then I would show the techniques. And when you were a beginner, everything under control. I wouldn't let a full training happen. I would make just positions training, and they learning, and they learn how to pass the guard, go back. So the guy could defend the guard and give it everything. When the guy land across side, he would never panic. He would never feel uncomfortable. So go back, do it again, then switch. Then it's his time to play on top. So even the little guy with the big guy, they would switch and they would experience all the situations. And that will build them confidence, will make them comfortable to train. And then after 3 months, they will start going, they will get a stripe, they will start going to the advanced class. They could join the other class. I went from 150 students in 4 months to 450. I was able to triple the number of my students by doing that. And another thing that I did that I learned by, like you can see, I like to read a little bit.
Yeah.
And now I have a new technique because my wife doesn't let me buy any more books. What I do, I hide the books behind the books. When she realized I have double my collection, So I read the book from Starbucks.
Right.
One of the main things that they use that was amazing was when you get in there and you order a coffee, they say, "What's your name, sir?" And they put it on. And the moment that you give the name, she repeats the name to you once. Then she calls you. She calls you by your name and then makes you feel comfortable and you come back. People don't realize this was one of the main things that helped the growth of Starbucks all over the world, because you felt like they know you. And especially in a culture like America, like I remember one time I go to have a beer here, I say, let me have a Corona. She puts the Corona, $6, sir. It's like in Brazil, if they give you the tab before you ask, that means they don't want you there. It's the biggest thing. So, and I bet in many other cultures too, you know? So they never let you feel comfortable. Maybe you want to have 3 or 4. Why, you know? But here was different. In the gym that I went, here, the woman would keep her eye just like this. And as I walk in, she'd keep her eye just as I plug my name in, my number in. And she goes, thank you. And back to whatever she was doing. But she never let her eye see me. So for 3 years I was there. Suddenly a friend of mine buys the gym. And I go, and he goes, Renzo, there's anything here that you think I should change? I say, yes. Or you fire the lady, or you put her to work where she doesn't have to deal with people. And he goes, oh, and then I explained to him, he goes, I never thought of that. I say, believe it makes a difference. The only time she actually raised her eye and spoke to us was when Mario Van Peebles, the actor, came to train with me here, and he stayed in my house for a week. And we went to work out. He wanted to see how my life was, so we went to work out in the gym. When he walked in, she goes, Mario Van Peebles, what are you doing here with him? Like, with him. You know, like, and he goes, this is the guy. I'm lucky to be here with him. I'm learning from him, you know? But this is the funny thing. It's like some people just value if they think they can get something back, you know? And so I changed that at my academy. I stopped putting everybody with their names here. And I made every instructor call every single one at least 3 times by their name, by their first name. So the school exploded. We got to 1,500 students there, you know, insane. It's 18 classes a day. I have the #1 team of Muay Thai of the East Coast. We won 1 year 13 titles, the next year 16 titles, the following year 13 titles again.
Wow.
Yeah, insane. And these 3 first months that we had this year, January, February, March, was our record of growth.
Wow.
You know, it was insane. Yeah. Yeah. My daughters work there running the office. They run the whole thing. And we're beginning a whole line of clothes, gis, and a bunch of different things that we're going to start investing and making happen, you know. And unfortunately, COVID stopped there for a little bit, but I'm not even worried. I'm just waiting to go back to the fight.
Okay.
It's like when you're in Jiu-Jitsu getting your butt kicked, hang in there. While you're the nail, hang in there.
Right.
You have a chance to become the hammer, hit hard. That's the secret.
So
we're waiting for the chance to become the hammer.
So how have you dealt with this year and COVID and everything? How?
It wasn't easy. I was able to keep the professional training on the basement. I did some fixing on my academy. Fortunately, I was financially well enough that I could afford to keep it closed and could pay. I didn't fire nobody. I kept everybody in my team there working, you know. So it's the academy for sure is going to return stronger than before. You know, I feel sorry I try to help the other people who have schools in the city. I try to get the same license that I have for them too, you know. And I don't want to see them closing, you know. I want to see them as successful as I am. And but I heard some of them will be closing doors because it's hard times, and you know they didn't have the setup the way that I had to be able to resist this crazy pandemic, and they didn't expect to last that long.